Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday or happy whatever day you're watching me on the playback. I want to welcome you to Kandid Conversations with Miss Krystal, where we are transforming through transparency. Speaking of transparency, make sure I don't have no lipstick on my teeth. All right. Hey, Kandid Land, I definitely missed you. We took a Sunday off to observe Easter and hope you had a wonderful Easter, wonderful worship service, spent time with family, and of course, the good food. And I know I definitely enjoyed Easter time with my family, my church family, and then we had a really good cookout. And so, what a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, I am back with another interview, and you guys get excited for this. I believe this is my 12th episode. It is my first out of town guest, and y'all, I am bringing the heat with today's guest, and he definitely has a testimony. So imagine, well, today's conversation is all about power, purpose, and the miracles that happen when you never give up. Today's guest right here is Mr. Marcus Boyd. Imagine being nonverbal until the age of 14, facing homelessness, and still somehow finding a way to not only find your voice, but to use it to change the world. Today, I am honored to sit down with Mr. Marcus Boyd. He's a 12-time award-winning global autism activist, a 13-time award-winning music producer and composer, and a man who has graced 11 magazine covers. He earned a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and he is showing the world what real resilience looks like. This is Mr. Marcus Boyd, and let me tell you, Kandid Land, his story will move you, inspire you, and remind you that no limitation can stop the calling on your life. So let's get to it. Let's get candid. Everybody show a warm welcome for Mr. Marcus Boyd. Woo! Hey, Marcus.
What's going on? How you doing? Thank you for allowing me to be on your life-changing platform.
Oh, I love that life-changing platform. Marcus, definitely that is my goal. Tell the viewers where you are joining us from.
Vicksburg, Mississippi. Good old Mississippi.
Oh, Marcus, I love that. Mississippi. Now, were you born and raised in Mississippi?
No, I moved out here a year ago, but I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, raised between Atlanta, Georgia, and Brooklyn, New York.
All right. Brooklyn, New York. So let's go ahead and get to it. Take us back to the beginning. What do you remember about your journey before finding your voice at 14 years old? And as we spoke off camera, you kind of told me, because I was like, Marcus, so you did not start speaking until you were 14. So take us back to that time. And how did that moment of finally speaking, change your world?
Well, I grew up in what I like to call a thunderstorm because,
Mm,
I was very misplaced. My birth parents did not understand what autism was. And not just because I'm not just talking about this because this is Autism Acceptance Month. I'm talking about this because this is my life and my passion. The thing is that my birth parents didn't have a brochure, pamphlet. They didn't have no support group saying, okay, your son has autism. This is what steps you need to take. I'm 42. So we talking about 83. You had welfare lines and food stamps, not cards, stamps. You understand what I'm saying? And
right.
everybody put it on God. If you sneeze wrong, God's gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
If you got a headache, give it to God. Everything you had to give to God. You understand what I'm saying? There's
Right.
nothing wrong with giving it to God. I want to clarify that. There's nothing wrong with giving it to God. I'm just saying. But at that time, my parents did not know why I was using the bathroom on myself. They didn't know why I was having sensory issues, emotional behaviors. They didn't know why I was scratching and biting people when they tried to say hello to me as a child. They did not understand my challenges or situations. They knew they had a whole bunch of kids, and here's this one kid that causing all this trouble.
Wow.
So it was just easier to eliminate and erase me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if
Yeah.
you're a parent or I don't know,
Yeah.
or whatever, But there is times, like people gotta keep this real. There is times where you get so frustrated with your child that you just want to, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything is not everything is not a beautiful situation. Everything don't have a happy ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with my situation, them being uneducated, my birth father having monstrous abuse issues, you
Mm.
know, he didn't get healed from when he was abused. Only thing
Yeah.
he did was have kids.
Yeah.
So with him being unhealed and having kids, he did the exact same thing that his father did to him.
Mm, mm. And thank you so much for acknowledging that April is Autism Awareness Month. And who better to speak with than the global autism activist, Mr. Marcus Boyd. And so, you're painting this picture. And unfortunately, that is the setting for a lot of families in this country, especially back then in the 80s when there wasn't as much information as we know now about autism. So when did you get diagnosed, and what did they say why you weren't speaking? And then you said you really found your voice at the age of 14 is when you really began to produce audible speech.
Okay, so since we on candid conversations,
Come on,
allow me
Candid,
to
let's do it.
allow me to be candid. Okay.
Yes.
April 12th, 1993, I was 10 years old. I was under Dr. King and my therapist at Clifton Springs Mental Health Center in Decatur, Georgia. And that was my third diagnosis. By the time Dr. King got to me, it was my third diagnosis. I was diagnosed at a place called Emory Hospital
Yes, heard of
um,
Emory.
in in Atlanta, Georgia, and then I was diagnosed in a hospital in New York. Everybody said that I had severe autism or severe, because of my severe autism, it causes rage, it
Yeah.
causes isolation, it causes me to have sensory issues. Listen, they was begging my grandma, I think in Emory and the one in New York, they was begging her to leave me. Let them run medical tests, excuse me, treatments. I didn't mean to say test, but let them run medical treatments on me so they can find out what's wrong. They was gonna give her a stipend and everything. Now my grandma is a short lady with 24 kids. So any
Whoa.
type of money that she could have got, she would have jumped on it. You understand what I'm saying? But she started spraying them with olive oil. Listen, don't make me take you back to 85. She went
Baby,
to the
I know
green
all
top
about that
olive oil.
blessed olive. I know all about that blessed
Listen,
olive, blessed
she
holy
went to the
oil.
green top olive oil, not the black top. She went to the green one. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
She started she started squirting it out like it was a paint gun. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? Speaking in tongues and praying and stuff right there. You would have thought it was a scene off The Exorcist because everybody thought she had something wrong with her. So imagine you being almost 4'9" with a big Jerry curl afro getting kicked out of a hospital. Yes, that was Mary. But but they just felt that I because I'm throwing desk at my teachers, because I'm using the bathroom on myself in class, because I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm rocking, I'm slobbing on myself and stuff of that nature, that I'm having behavior issues that I need to be self-contained.
wow,
Okay? So when I was almost 5 years old, it got introduced to having self-containment classrooms. By the time I was 6 or 7, the word IEP came
yeah.
into my life. Then
Yeah,
they
and for
start.
those that may not be familiar, that stands for Individualized Education Plan, and those for people who exhibit some sort of learning difficulty. Go ahead, Marcus.
And then it was like they started using initials on me. Listen, Miss Crystal, I thought I was in a singing group because first I had BBD, BD. It was they started using initials. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what I had because they just said, okay, he BD. So let's
Yeah,
put him here because he BD. Like, like,
right, right. So a lot of things. And so, do you remember those early moments and what was going through your mind, and were you trying to communicate? And did you just kind of feel like, because this is interesting, not talking until you're the age of 14, but remembering all of this treatment, going to these doctors, the frustration of your family. So, what do you remember most from that moment? And so, from my understanding, so your grandmother stepped in to caretake for you, to be your
My grandmother
caretaker?
tried to step in. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's not. Okay, my grandmother tried to step in. She was the real older lady with a bunch of kids herself. So in the state of New York, people don't get it this confused. It wasn't like because she had a bunch of kids, she got a bunch of food stamps. In the
right.
state of New York, the more kids you have, the less food stamps you got. So I don't back then. I don't know what it was in other states. So she was struggling trying to take care of her kids. Plus, my birth mom dumped her kids on her. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
it was a lot going on. So the state custody got me when I was almost 5. You understand what I'm saying? I was in state custody of Georgia. I was in DFACS. You understand what I'm saying? Some people call it CPS, whatever the issues is. That's where I was at.
yeah,
So, and because, my birth father broke my ribs, you know what I'm saying? And he was hitting me with the gun in the back of my face, in the back of my head, and in my face. You understand what I'm saying? Miss Chris, this is a long story. By the time I was 14, I was speaking at a 2-year-old level, but I was experiencing going from foster home to foster home. And then they were trying to transition me back into my biological family. And my uncles was raping me from 12 to 16.
my
I
God,
was getting
Marcus.
raped by my uncles, and I was nonverbal. And one of my uncles was a sheriff. So who I'm calling? 911?
Oh, Marcus, goodness, just when you think that it couldn't get worse, you're
And then,
dealing
and
with
then
all of this, your family trying to find a diagnosis, trying to find a stable home, and then you're dealing with sexual abuse and you can't cry for help. Oh my goodness, Marcus.
that was at
Where would
12.
you
When I was 10, I was in a mental institution. That's the first time I got raped by those Caucasian boys. And you know what I'm saying? It was 5 of them. Then before that happened, my best friend Tony got his life taken, and he was almost 11 years old in Brooklyn, New York. His head got blown off in my face. I was 10 watching him pass away. Nonverbal with autism.
Oh gosh, Marcus. It's a lot to unpack
It's a
right
lot.
here.
It's
But
it's a
you
lot. That's why the movie's on the way. That's why the movie is on the way. I don't want people to get confused.
come on, come on. And you definitely don't look like what you've been through. Marcus, so
Amen.
was there during that moment of inner silence, was there a moment where you just felt like you were here for a reason and that you were going to survive this, that this
No,
wasn't it for you?
no. Again, we keeping it candid over here. No, no, no. It was not like again. This is not a TV episode. There was no happy endings at this point. No, you know how many times I tried to kill myself? You know how many times I tried to take my life? I didn't want to be here. How many times I was constantly crying in my room in the dark by myself? No, no, no. I didn't get no determination and willpower and resilience
You
in my
just kept,
teenage years.
yeah, yeah.
No, I wanted to kill myself.
Gosh. So Marcus, your first words came word sound, audible sound was at the age of 14. And
Mhm.
what was it? And do doctors know what was it in that moment that allowed you to be able to speak?
They claim that my first word was the word music because we was at Grant Park and we was at this, you know, at that time you didn't have to be related, but they used to have what is called community barbecues. So
Yeah.
everybody in that community was eating and stuff like that. So we was at a community barbecue and they was playing some music and I just instantly said, not in clear form, but somewhere in mumble stumble form, the word music. I always been drawn to music. And the
Okay.
doctors told my grandma, well, it's probably because y'all had a bunch of music playing and stuff like that. And he was really attached and drawn to the music. No, but then my grandma used to wave her Jerry curl. You had to be careful because it dripped. But she told the doctor that nope. It was God just said it's time. My God said it's time.
That's
So I
right.
mean, listen,
Marcus, and
I
I wasn't laughing at what your grandma said, but you said something about the Jerry curl dripping.
it did. You
Making
had
a
to wear a
lot of things.
raincoat around her. You know what I'm saying? You had to wear a raincoat
Right.
because it dripped. But
Right, right. And listen, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying. So you began speaking at the age of 14. And so, amidst all of the things that you had already gone through, being nonverbal, going from institution to trying to find a stable home and sexual abuse, and then you dealt with homelessness. Talk about that season of your life.
okay, so I first dealt with homelessness at 7 because my then foster mother said the yellow check was late. And for those who don't know what a yellow check is, back in the early 90s, they used to give foster parents in Georgia yellow checks, some for 1,800, some for 2,400, some for even more
Mhm.
than 2,400 a month. And then they used to give you clothing stipends for J.C. Penney's back when they had the catalog, and Kmart and
Yeah.
stuff, Walmart and stuff of that nature, where you get 300 or 350 clothing vouchers every other month to buy clothes for your foster child. But not my foster mother, please, please. Her sons with drips. Her nails stayed laced. Her wig, you know what I'm saying? She was getting that check every month. She didn't need me in her home to get the check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? But I guess she forgot when they do like once every 3 month visits. I kind
Yeah.
of needed to be in the home, but I guess I guess she forgot that part.
Wow. So what happened? You just left, or how
No,
did
she
they
kicked me
remove?
out. She kicked
She
me out
kicked.
at 7. I'm nonverbal. So by that time, only place I can go is behind the building to sleep. In Georgia, I slept before they moved the CNN building, the news station. Before they moved it, I slept in their headquarters building. That was downtown Atlanta. I slept behind that building. I slept in little 5 points. Uh, see, where else? I used to be on the train a lot, going from east, west, north, and south, just because I knew it took almost 2.5 hours to go to east, like north, south, east, and west. So I used to ride the train a lot in 5 points. And then I used to ride the bus because they used to give out pink slips, but they back then they didn't date them. So you can use the same pink slip to go on different buses. Listen, don't try that at home. I said this was early 90s.
Marcus, and I think it's just so profound how you couldn't speak, but you have concrete memory of these moments. What was going through your mind during this time?
Like I was trying to understand why me. I gotta survive. I gotta do this in the streets. I'm seeing other people talk and they pointing me and they giving me direction. See, a lot of people not understanding. Yes, there's bad elements in the streets, but at that moment, those was the only family members I had. Those drug dealers, those gang members, those drug pushers, whatever they were, those are the only family members I had. Those were the only ones that looked out.
Oh, Marcus. So fast forward. Well, first
Hmm.
off, you said your first word was music.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
in the end, music became a healing part of your journey and basically your channel to communication. And so talk about how music truly became the miracle in your life.
Well, my grandma only had two stations. That was Soul Train and TBN. Okay, so that 20-inch TV, that one used to put some aluminum foil on. You know what I'm saying? The little 20-inch. She only had two channels that came in. Okay, I'm not even talking about the Western channel or the PBS channel. Nobody really watched those. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? But she only had two good ones.
Two stations.
So,
Yeah, I remember that back in the day. Yeah.
so church was our almanac. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? We had to go to church, please. She didn't care. It's either you in the
Listen,
street
Marcus,
or
I grew up the same way. And you said the only two channels, the Soul Train and then TBN, and TBN stands for the Turner. What was it? The Trinity
uh
Broadcasting Network
yeah, Trinity
with Paul
broadcast.
Krause
Yup.
and his wife Jan. Yeah, we grew up. Yeah, my mama was watching that too. Yeah.
I'm just saying, look, that
Wow.
that that TVN is like Mr. Rogers. It was in every black household, okay?
Yes, Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But those two influences definitely help unlock something in you. And so, talk
I
about,
wouldn't. I wouldn't say that, Miss Crystal. I would say my grandma forced me to do music. It was more so she told the organist at our church that he keep interrupting, yelling and screaming, running around, trying to snatch people to pays off and stuff like that. And I'm trying to praise the Lord. He loves music, so if you can sit him here and you can teach him an organ, I'll pay you $70 per service. And Miss Crystal, my grandma was one of those. Every time the lights was on, she was there. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Every time the light
same.
was on,
Honey, listen, you preaching to the choir. I think a lot of us grew up in church. A lot of our audience can relate to what you're saying, honey. I remember we was going Monday night and Tuesday night Bible study and Wednesday night some youth explosion on Friday. And I mean, yeah, definitely growing up in the church, but a lot of times for us in our community, that was our village. That was our safe space. So talk about how you went from being nonverbal until the age of 14, going through homelessness to becoming a global activist and a 13-time award winning music producer. How did this all happen?
well, that happened because let's see, 20, I've been a music producer 26 years. Make 18 different genres of music, play 8 instruments. So I've been doing this for a very long time. So out of the 26 years, I have 13 awards. I don't want people to get this confused. Like they just handed me 13 awards like
Right, right.
yesterday.
Over time.
No, it
Yeah.
took 26. It's 26 years. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So I want to go ahead and clear that up. But music has always been a passion. You know, my grandma again, she forced me into music because she said that's the only way I would sit still. And, that won't interrupt her praising or her shouting for God. So it was either that was my only choice. And
Hmm.
yes, Miss Crystal, I tried to be like my uncles. I wanted to sell drugs too. Imagine a person with autism who's nonverbal wanting to be out here selling crack. You understand what I'm saying? What that looks like. You understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my grandma, I promise you, one time I was 15, 16. I'm still learning my language through my speech therapist, my peer speech therapist, and stuff of that nature. I'm still learning my language and my sentences. I told her that I want to sell drugs about 16 years old. I promise I did. And she said that if I can run and jump over the fence in the neighborhood I was living in Brooklyn, she'll buy me a quarter pound of crack so I can get started selling drugs. So I'm fat. Okay? I'm fat. And she said she even started the timer on her watch after I passed her. After I passed her, she'll start the timer because she was right next to the fence. So all I
Yeah.
gotta do is jump the fence. Miss
Oh
Chris,
my
let me tell you something. Okay, I think I was wheezing before I even got to her. Like I was wheezing out of breath and stuff like that. And she simply looked at me and she said, "Baby," she said, "that's why fat people don't need to sell drugs. You need to take your stupid self back to school because obviously you don't know about physical education. So you
God.
need to take your stupid self back to school instead of trying to sell drugs."
Wow. Well, yeah. And it ended up working out for you. So, Marcus, what was the first project that you started working on and then it literally took off?
I was blessed to do some independent films many years ago, and some of those this was way before Tubi. So some of those independent films that I put my music in was blessed to take off and win film awards and stuff of that nature. So after that, I started working with artists. After I started working with artists, I started working on more TV commercials and documentary series, having my music on there because see, Miss
But
Crystal,
you gotta
everybody
you
got
gotta bridge it for me. You gotta bridge it for me though, because it's like
it.
you went from speaking at the age of 14, then you started getting therapy. So what was the first project? And then it began to evolve after that. What was that project?
Well, I was blessed to work on an independent artist's project. Her name is Algebra. So
Uh-huh.
I was able to work on her project probably about I was 17, 18. Because
Wow.
again, my rape situation didn't stop until I was 16. And that's a whole nother story, Miss Crystal. All I gotta say is sometimes with that situation, those are my blood uncles. So sometimes justice don't always come from the court. But as we move on. So,
Right. So what kind of
you
music
know,
was it? Singing or playing an
it was
instrument?
R&B music. It was
Okay.
R&B music. So, as a producer and a composer, Miss Algebra needed some music for her album. So I was able to provide R&B beats for that album. But the thing is, nobody judged me. Nobody knew it was me making the beats. They
So
just knew my
you were
name.
in, so you were like producing, you were making music. So you were
I was
making
making
music
music.
for artists, like a
Yes,
producer,
ma'am.
like a
Yes,
music
ma'am.
producer. Wow. And so talk about that moment. Did it feel like magic for you? You had an opportunity to immerse yourself in these sounds that essentially saved your life. And you know, can you share a project or something that's closest to your heart that really sticks out to you?
Oh yeah. I was able to work with Miss Shirley Caesar on her projects many
What?
years ago. Many years ago. So 2010, 2011. So um and I went to her church to do that. So, the thing is, music did save my life because it
Wow.
was the only thing that was non-judgmental. Music didn't say you can't sit here. Music didn't put mashed potatoes all in my face at a lunch. Music didn't, music didn't treat me bad. Music didn't try to stuff me in lockers. Music didn't bully me to take my $1.50. Again, I'm 42, so $1.50 was a long way for school lunch. That's what my sister gave me was $1.50. So so
Wow. That is so phenomenal, Marcus. And anybody that knows the queen of gospel music, the Shirley Caesar, and your gift allowed you basically, because the word says your gift will make room for
make
you.
room for you.
And you were able to identify that gift, and that became your golden ticket music.
Like nobody in her church or herself, nobody cared. They just cared about me playing the organ and the piano. They just cared about me making sure those chords was right, production wise. It was
Yeah.
not like, "Hi, I'm Marcus. I got autism." It's that's not the situation.
Yeah.
And even with my friend, almost because I've been an autism activist going on 8 years. August 2025 would be 8 years. So even with my friend wanting me to go to her church, tell my testimony, threatening to leave me on I-285 in Atlanta, Georgia, because I didn't want to tell the miracles and the blessings that God did in my life. Because again, I'm at that time I'm in Atlanta. I'm in music studios. I'm working with people. I'm doing music for major fashion shows. And you up here want me to tell people that I got autism and I slob and I use the bathroom on myself and all that. No, that's not what we doing. No,
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
Right. 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 Your advocacy has touched lives globally, from working with lawmakers to launching your own foundation. So, what drives your mission to
Yes.
fight for inclusion, awareness, and change on such a massive scale? And tell us about that foundation you started.
Well, the foundation's in Denver, Colorado. It's called the Marcus Boyd Foundation. It's a foundation where we do activities, where we do events, where we do resources, where we give clothing, food, educational products, supplies, where we help autistic families that may need help as far as getting to ABA therapies or getting to therapies or getting to medication type situations. So we can't help them in a broader scale, like in like big financial assistance, but we help them financially and we help them with resources. And sometimes we can be able to help them with transportation. So even though I'm in Vicksburg, Mississippi, I plan to have a part 2 of the foundation here. I plan to have it in every state, really. But right now, the headquarters is in Denver, Colorado.
Wow. So, how'd you land in Mississippi?
Uh, business opportunities. That's opportunity was there, and I love the city of Vicksburg, Mississippi. I love Jackson, Mississippi. So I love the people here, and it's really nice to be out here.
That's wonderful. What can we as individuals do? How can we do a better job of including and valuing members of our community that have autism?
Well, we have to, first of all, to be quite truthful with you, we have to take the emotional handcuffs off our family members and our kids. Okay, they got a diagnosis of autism, but you as a parent or you as a family member cannot put emotional handcuffs on your kids or your family member. They already have to deal with trials and tribulations. They already have to deal with situations. They will have to deal with that even if they did not have autism. They will still have to deal with trials and tribulations. They don't stop them from that part. But yes, their trials and tribulations may be different. Their trials and tribulations may be even harder than the next person. But what you can do is do and assist. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't see Scottie Pippen scoring all those goals. What he do? He passed the ball. Scottie
Yeah.
Pippen passed the ball to Jordan. You understand what I'm saying? Shaq passed the ball to Mumba. You understand? Jacoby. You understand what I'm saying? So we as parents, we as caregivers, we have to pass the ball of greatness to our child, to our family member. Yes, they're going to have struggles. That's what a bike got training wheels for. You be their training wheel to push them to greatness. Don't you stand in their way because
Come on.
you afraid.
Come
Don't you
on.
stand in their way because you don't know what to do.
Come
God knew
on.
what to do. That's why He allowed them to have autism. See, this is why I gotta stop talking because it sounds like I'm preaching. But the
Come
thing
on.
is,
Come on. I'm ready for it.
but
Come on,
the
Marcus.
the, the thing is that we block greatness and we block dreams from our own kids because we scared. We don't know what they're gonna become. We don't know what they're gonna do in life. Nobody knows. That's why it's called a gamble. You don't know how that dice gonna roll. The only thing you can do is stand strong and stand fast. Be the assistance and guidance that your child would need. If they got level 3 autism, if they can't do nothing for themselves, if they have to have a caregiver, then you be that caregiver. But you also be that pusher while you being that caregiver. Don't be like a Tina or a Tommy, like my birth parents were, and go to family court and says that Marcus is too retarded. Marcus, he was a mistake. Tommy just brutally abused him. He don't do it to the rest of the kids. So if you take Marcus, he won't be the abuser that y'all think he is.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? Don't come back 37 years later and say you my son because we don't see you on magazine covers
Come
now.
on.
I was your
Right.
son 37 years ago.
Come on. Whew.
You know what I'm saying?
Marcus, I think, I mean, we've unpacked so much. And I think one thing that really sticks out to me is because a lot of times when people see people that have autism or other disabilities and they can't communicate, they think that they don't understand what's going on. But the fact that you could vividly remember what life was like before you began to speak, when you talk about being 7 years old and getting kicked out and having to sleep behind a building or riding buses and trains, what is one misconception about autism that you would hope that we could all just as a society erase forever?
Number one, that everybody's the same, or everybody experiences the same type of symptoms, or the same type of situations, or their communication. Everybody who's nonverbal don't understand, don't hear what you're saying, don't feel what you're saying. See, let me tell you something. Just because you're nonverbal, you know what love feels like. You don't have to hear love to know what love feels like. That's
Ooh,
why it says love needs no words. Because if I love somebody, I'm gonna make them feel it. I can say it all day, but actions got to be greater than anything else. And number two, if you speak positivity, if you speak life in your child, you think they're not hearing, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know. Now we gotta switch up our plans because Johnny got autism and we can't afford that. What you mean we? Johnny got autism, not you. So why are you blocking his blessings because you don't understand? Sometimes we have to stop being ignorant and allow knowledge to come in our lives so we can understand what Johnny can do and cannot do. So we can be able to push Johnny to a greater success. Nobody thought Marcus would get here at 42. Nobody thought I would get here. Many doctors said I would be a human walking vegetable. I'll be my brain is dead on the left side of my brain. I won't communicate like other kids.
yeah.
Yes, it takes my team to read contracts. Yes, it takes my team to set up interviews like this amazing one right here. Yes, but that's why the word is called team because everybody achieves more.
I'm trying not to cry, Marcus, because I am in tears though, because I think you were just so phenomenal. I think you've been through so much, and I think sometimes in life we go through things and we ask God, why? Why me? Why do I have to go through it? But as believers, we know that all things work together for our good. It's one of my favorite scriptures, Romans 8
Amen.
28.
Amen. Amen.
And so now that you're standing here on the mountaintop, can you better understand why you had to go through that valley?
If I had a chance to talk to 4-year-old abused Marcus, if I had a chance to talk to 7-year-old abused Marcus or 10-year-old abused Marcus, I would tell him that yes, your valley is going to be many. You're going to have a lot of pitfalls. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to have to dust yourself off so many times. But eventually, once you dust yourself out, you're going to be able to walk. You'll be able to hold your head high. You're going to be able to know that you matter in this world. And
Yeah.
just because you don't have a family, just because your parents gave up on you many years ago, guess what? Guess what God was able to do? Give you people that's not bloodly related to you, but they became bloodly related to you. Sometimes your blood is not your DNA.
Come on. Woo. Come on now. Listen, I'm in tears. Look, I gotta get myself together, Marcus, though, because just a just a wonderful story of overcoming. And you've created a foundation and this is your life work. Talk about how your organization, your foundation, and you going and speaking, what families were you able to kind of shed light on the struggles that their child might have been facing? Can you share a story that really sticks out to you?
Yes, I was able to speak in many different countries. I was, virtually and physically, because I
Uh-huh.
don't want people to think I just went to all these countries physically. Some of them was virtually. I was able to speak at different events. Like I got to speak next Saturday at a NAMI event because anybody knows mental health. NAMI is the largest mental health organization in the United States. So there's one in every state, and I'm representing the one in Mississippi, and I'm speaking at their state conference next Saturday. So um, there's been many people that has come up to me saying that because of your story, I'm able to learn different. I'm able to move different. I'm able to see stuff different because of your testimony. I can really understand my son, or I can really understand my daughter. My daughter or my son is nonverbal, but because you stand here, I can have hope. It gives me inspiration. And I keep telling people it's not me, it's just God. God allowed me not to kill myself because I tried to kill myself 54 times in the 42 years that I breathed. I mean, from everywhere from bleach to getting hit by a car to taking pills. I have tried it. But God still says, nope, it's not your time yet.
Not yet.
It's not your time yet. You can't rush my process. You trying to take yourself out of here, and I still got work for you to do. How dare you? Yes, your life was horrible. Yes, it was hell. But guess what? You're going to use your life to my glory.
Wow. And I guess I'm just in tears because we get down about little things that don't matter. And then when we put it side to side with someone like you who has gone through so much and you're still standing. You are still standing. And I think that goes back to the power of purpose. And the thing I love most about this platform is that, yeah, we're having conversations, but these are life saving. These are transformational conversations because there's a parent out there that's listening to this that has given up on their child. There are family members that know of parents that are struggling, that have just gotten that diagnosis, that feel hopeless. But as they always say,
Well, if
hope.
they ever feel hopeless, please, if you can watch this and this can save your mindset from giving up on your child, please don't become a Tina. Because even though she gave up on me at family court when I was 4 years old, now she tells people I'm her son. And when she asks for money, I send her money, not because I have to, because the bigger blessing is on me, not her. My forgiveness is for me, not her. Now, we don't really communicate and be buddy buddy, because I have to forgive, but I don't have to be a fool either.
Wow.
So the thing is, if you can see this video or see this uh interview, and if you have questions or if you need encouragement, upliftment, my number is 601-994-3454. Again, it's 601-994-3454. Call me before you give up on your son or your daughter. Call me before you wash your hands, because I don't want you to make the same mistake Tina did, who gave up on me.
Wow. And listen, you're so well decorated. You've got achievement awards, magazine covers. You won the what was it? The Presidential Lifetime Award, and
Yep,
in
I have
2020,
won the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from Joe Biden.
yeah.
December 2024 made me the first ever person with autism to win an Autism Lifetime Achievement Award in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow. Wow. And Marcus, your story is being turned into a movie.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
So
is. It's totally-
talk about that.
Uh, Major shout out to Nas, Panky, and Andrew McAllister for Beast Mode Entertainment. They have made their award-winning film company in Atlanta, Georgia. Nas has a son with autism, so this story only made really perfect sense to her. It was compelling for her. She was in tears when she heard when we did the video interviews and stuff of that nature. You only could put so much in a 2-hour feature film, so this is why we working on the feature film, and what you don't see in the film, the TV series is on the way. You understand what I'm saying? So my
So
the
so
film is
what
called
all
The
does
Marcus.
the what is all the movie cover? It talks about your earliest days, and does it dissect the relationship between your parents and you dealing with
Well,
home?
I'm gonna put it like this, because she and her team is working on the script as I'm speaking to you. So the movie is gonna be gearing to start to being shot at the end of 2025, early 2026, to start being shooting. And by the way, I have a short film. It's called Cyberbullying and the Marcus Boyd Experience, because I have been cyberbullied for the last 5 years, and it's not like the regular way of cyberbullying. So that short 20-minute film is being done by Tina Bridges, award-winning film director with TLB Productions in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's gonna be out like in a few months, couple of months, the short film. And because we did the Boy with No Voice, the short film 2021, it now has 3 film awards, and 2 of those film awards came from the country of India. So it now has 3 film awards.
Wow.
So the Marcus Boyd story and autistic state of mind will be the 2-hour feature film. You'll be able to find it in movie theaters, film festivals, and everywhere else. And it's going to touch on when I was in court at 16. I was shackled from my hands to my feet, and I was facing double murder. True story, facing double murder. That's why I said early in this interview, sometimes justice don't always come from court. So we're
And I'm
gonna
going to
find
leave
out
them with
what.
that because there's so much to it. Facing double murder. So definitely you're going to have to, I'm going to find out what it is offline, but you're going to have to definitely get ready for that movie to find out the story behind that. Marcus, what message of hope do you have? Do you want to leave the viewers with after learning about your journey? What message of hope for any circumstance? It doesn't have to just be a autism diagnosis, but if someone is facing a dark moment right now, what would you say to that person? How would you encourage them?
I would simply say that what you're facing is horrible, it's horrific, it's terrible, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to go through that experience. But what I will say is, you may not understand it now, but it's going to make you so much stronger. And you have to depend on your higher power, whether it's God, whether it's Buddha, whether it's Allah, whether it's wherever your higher power is. You have to depend on them. If you have a family to depend on, please depend on them. If you have a village to depend on, please go to your village.
Yeah.
But you know, We can't face this
Can't face it alone. Definitely, there's
alone.
power.
We cannot face this alone, and we have to stand on God is going to make this better. I didn't know I was going to be in these shoes many years ago. I wanted to kill myself because I was tired of being homeless. I was tired of being raped. I was tired of being beat up. I was tired of being unloved, unwanted. So I wanted to kill myself. But God said, if you allow me to cover you in my
Come on.
arms, watch what I'm going to do to you. Watch what I'm going to do for you. And I only can praise God because where I'm going, it's not about fame or accolades or achievements. Those things are cool. But it's to leave a mark and be a voice for those who are voiceless, for those who can't tell their story,
Yeah.
for those who get mistreated. We have to change the narrative for autism. And I will spend the rest of my life doing
Wow. Look, tears again. Um, when I was going through a really rough time in my life, Marcus, I remember sitting on the edge of the bed and the TV was on and Pastor Joel Osteen was on there. And I wasn't into Joel like that then. And I don't know how it got on that station, but during this moment of me weeping, he said, God always ends on all is well. And your story is not over if you can't say all is well. And a lot of times in my life, I would measure it by, can I say all? No, I can't say all is well now. So he's not done. And I really feel like you are in your all is well moment, Marcus. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story, but for never giving up. Because a lot of times we understand that what happens to us ultimately happens for us. And though it may not feel good, it may not look good in your story and in all stories, it's ultimately going to work out for our good. So we talked about a lot of heavy things, Marcus. Now let's have a little fun with a little bit of round of quick fire. And I like to call it keep it candid. So I got a couple of questions that I want to ask you. You up for it, Marcus?
it. Sure, let's go.
All right. Are you a morning or a night person?
I'm a morning person.
Morning person. How early do you like to be up,
About
Marcus?
okay, so if I go to bed at 11:30, I'm up about 6:30 every morning.
Ooh, wee. I wish I could get like that. What's your favorite artist and who is on your playlist right now?
Favorite artist? Uh, let's see here. I'm a neo soul head, jazz head, and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
I love Dwelle, Jill
Yes.
Scott.
Yeah.
I love Robert, Gasper.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but you in Kentucky, so I listen to hip hop too. So EST and you know what I'm saying. I
Oh, you
love
know the
EST.
EST. Wow. Okay.
I love EST. You know what I'm saying, and the whole movement out there with CMG. So you know what I mean. I love what they're doing.
Absolutely. What's a word that describes your journey so far? If you could just describe it in one word, what would that word be?
Let's see here. Um, Determined.
Determined. What a great word. Biggest dream still ahead. Something that you still have on your bucket list that you're still waiting to check off.
I want to make a what is called an autism media center, and within that center, you'll be able to get interviews like this or in-person interviews. You'll be able to go to the music studio in the same building to record, mix, and master in the same place. You'll be able to shoot music videos in the same place, and you'll be able to do photo shoots in the same place. And we'll be able to teach autistic kids and teenagers how to run each process, how to run different things that's in the media in this building. So they'll be able to get their certification. It's almost like a full scale, but it's simply for autistic individuals.
Oh, that sounds so cool, Marcus. And I definitely see that coming to light. Listen, I tell you, you are just amazing. And I know that anything you put your mind to, it's gonna happen. And the last question, one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self.
You didn't cause this. It's not your fault about something. Don't blame yourself.
Mm,
Stop. Keep. Stop. trying to find your birth mother. Stop trying to find what prison your birth father is in. They didn't want you. It's okay. It's okay to be not wanted. You have to realize that it's okay for those people not to want you because God got some people that will want you.
Wow. Marcus, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your heart, for taking part in this candid conversation. And I know that so much good, so much breakthrough, so much progress has been made through your work and through all the work that you will continue to do. And you're living proof that no label, no diagnosis, no obstacle can stop what God has purposed for anyone that may be going through a rough season. And your story reminds all of us that the same walls that tried to box us in can become stages that lifts us even higher. Marcus, anything else to share with us before you get out of here?
Just continue to watch me, support me. I know this Saturday I gotta go to Hattiesburg, Mississippi because it's 2 hours away from Vicksburg. They're doing the Best of Mississippi Awards, which all the entrepreneurs and all the big business people in the state of Mississippi come together once a year to get awarded for their businesses or their professional attributes. And I am the first one to ever have autism to be inducted into the Mississippi Hall of Fame. That happens this Saturday at 6 p.m. They inducted me, and I'm getting an award for diversity and inclusion throughout the state of Mississippi.
Wow. Just when you couldn't be, you're just simply incredible, Marcus. And thank you so much for blessing me and my viewers with your presence. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope what Marcus said just didn't fall on deaf ears. Take his journey, take what he's been through, and let that inspire you that whatever it is you're dealing with, that is not the end, right? Yes, greatness is on the other side, but you can't give up. You guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Let's do it again next week and keep it candid. Bye.